Hello from Uiseong, Korea to the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2016. Korea will host the next Winter Olympics and the world has come here to try and qualify. I'm Hans Fraunlob here with Sander Ulvag. Good evening, Sander.
Good evening.
In our feature match tonight, we'll feature Japan versus China in the women's competition. This should be a beauty. Playoff implications for both teams here, so let's take a look at the standings. Japan, Korea, and China have all qualified. Japan is unbeaten at 5-0. Australia is at 2 wins and 3 losses. The Australians are level with the New Zealanders, who are also on 2 and 3. They're playing each other tonight, so we'll keep an eye on that match. Hong Kong, Kazakhstan, and Qatar round out the standings. So let's meet our teams tonight. Here's Team Japan. Playing at lead is Yurika Yoshida. Yumi Suzuki is at second stone. Chinami Yoshida is at third. And the skip is Satsuki Fujisawa. The alternate is Mari Motohashi, and the coach is J.D. Lind.
And for Team China, at lead we have Yongyang. At second is Yinli Liu. And third and vice skip is Yan Zhou. And the team is skipped by Bin Yuang, also known as Betty. Alternate is Ye Mei, and the team coach is Wei Dong Tan.
So a matchup of the stronger teams in this competition. Fujisawa's Japanese team were the silver medalists at last year's Women's World Championships. And of course, Wang Binyu's Chinese team, she's back after a couple of years off. She was the 2009 Women's World Champion and also an Olympic medalist. So this, Sander, figures to be a kind of a clash of the titans, really.
Yeah, we haven't seen Japan on our live broadcast yet. It'll be interesting to see, what form they have. But I'm sure we'll have a good game. I think yesterday I was expecting fireworks before the game started, and we got it. So I'm gonna go with the same today. Fireworks.
We're predicting fireworks?
I'm hoping.
Well, the world is full of fireworks today. That's for certain. China has last rock here in the first end, so getting us underway for Japan is their lead, Yurika Yoshida. Sander mentioned that this is our first look this week at this Japanese team, but if you were with us for the Women's World Championships last year, we covered a lot of the games of this Japanese team, and they won a lot of fans, not only for their outstanding play, but just the way that they enjoy the game and they enjoy each other's company. They're real fan favorites. Here's Yang Ying. Nose hit, conservative start to the game. And of course, Wang Binyu and her team have won their share of fans as well, Sander, so both well liked. This one's over curling, and it's just got a piece. No, I don't think it's going to remove it. Fujisawa sweeping desperately. Oh, nice job there. Just gets it out of the rings. Is it down? A bit wide. Job done, just.
Yeah, and a chance for China to put up a corner guard and hope for a miss from Japan. Another miss.
Yes. You'd have to say that was at least a half miss on that last shot. Definitely wanted to stick around. Lu Jinli, sorry, the corner. Correction, Yan Ying. Nice stone there.
One of the younger players in the championship. has participated at the Youth Olympics
姐姐，这个夺鞋是
back in 2012 in Innsbruck, Austria.
There's Yumi Suzuki, Japanese second player.
Yep, just going to peel the guard, and I think we might see that a few more times in this end. China just putting up the corner guard a couple of times, hoping for a miss from Japan. If they don't get it, they'll probably just bring it into the house and look for the blank end. So no fireworks yet, unless there's a miss.
Keeping their powder dry. Here is Lu Jinli throwing up that corner. Mentioned that both of these teams have qualified for the playoffs. China has already guaranteed their place at the 2017 World Women's Championships because the event will be held in Beijing. So they get a place as the host nation. That means just one other place available here in the Pacific Asia zone. Japan would be delighted to have that place. Here's Suzuki. Oh, and there's that miss. Well, there we go, Sander. Unexpected miss from Suzuki, but chance here for the Chinese to take advantage of that corner guard.
Well, that's exactly what they're hoping for. Chance to pick up an easy deuce here in the first end.
So can Lu Jinli make use of that corner guard that she threw? Good sweeping, that's right. Wide as well. Suzuki missed on the high side. Will Yoshida suffer the same fate? Yes, she does, right by it. Oh my goodness. Wow, shocker of a start for the Japanese. So here's a great chance for Wang Binyu to set up the deuce and maybe more. Here's Zhao Yan.
Yeah, I really don't expect to see that kind of miss on this level, and definitely not 2 times in a row, Hans.
And really in the same spot on the ice.
Yeah, very strange.
Maybe they're just fooled by the curl there. Maybe there's a tricky spot. Regardless, the net result is China's drawn into the house for their second stone. And they've got the hammer. So now it's bailout time for the Japanese. Yoshida just confirming the weight. Well, this one's moving. Are they by the guard? Just by the guard. Remove one Chinese stone and roll into the 12-foot. Wow. That's definitely fooling them. Almost wrecking the guard. Relieved smile there from Chinami Yoshida. Wide open, though, for Wang Binyu and her Chinese teammates.
So just bringing the weight down just a wee bit and throwing it, I think, a tad softer as well. And found the curl.
Zhou trying to remove this stone. She'd love to roll behind the corner. There's the hit, but it's right on the nose. But again, China's line 2. Pretty good angle here to attempt the double takeout, or at least close the rocks up here, I think, huh, Sander?
Yeah, I think it's worth to go for. It's about a third. want to try and stick the shooter too, though, because if you don't, China's got that corner guard. They can just come around.
So a bit more pressure than you would have liked for your first stone of the game if you're Satsuki Fujisawa, but she's going to try the double.
I wouldn't be surprised if she was a little safe on this one after seeing two of her teammates flash earlier.
There's one. Have they got both? Moves the Chinese stone. They can't sweep it till it gets to the tee line. Just stays on the rings, and her own shooter rolls in front to cover it. So close to a great result for the Japanese. They were desperately trying to keep the angle, but it caught it just the tiniest bit thick. They had to wait for it to reach the tee line to sweep. There we see on the overhead. Pushes the Chinese stone back. It's in motion, trying to sweep it off the rings, but it stays on. Great try from Fujisawa, but the door is open now for Wang Binyu to go around that corner guard and lie two buried. They're well by that guard. They like the weight. Comes to rest right on the tee line. China lies two. So, decision time here for the Japanese. Pretty much have no choice but to follow that one down and try to freeze it. Sander, do you think?
Well, that was the call right away from Fujisawa. Didn't even hesitate. I'm sure if there's enough curl, so you can come around and maybe tap it out, but that'd be giving up an easy two. Play the freeze here, you might just get the force. So China actually brought that draw just about 2 feet too far. Makes this freeze a little easier to get shot stone anyway.
So let's see if Satsuki Fujisawa can make the freeze and bail her team out from this difficult situation. Sweeping it for line. They're by the guard. Now it's a matter of the weight. They want to freeze it all the way down. Now they're sweeping it. Have they left it short? Trying to get shot. Just short. Had great line, but needed one more foot of weight to count out that Chinese stone. So now it's a draw for two for Wang Binyu. High fives. It takes away the risk of a three, but so close for Team Japan. Well, I say it's a game of inches, and there you see it. Chinese stone just ahead of that red Japanese stone. That's all it takes, folks. Closest to the middle counts.
Yeah, if you think back to Fujisawa's first rock too, only over curled by maybe 1/4 of an inch to make the double.
So close. So can Wang Binyu cash in here in the first end with the hammer? Last stone on its way, drawing for two. Sweepers seem pretty happy with it. No panic there. Just needs full 8 foot. They sweep it all the way to the tee line in the 4 foot, and that is letter perfect. So 2 points on the board for China. Fantastic start for them. They make the most of that last rock advantage. So they're off to the races after one end of play here at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. China 2, Japan no score. Great start for China. If you've got the hammer in the first, you'd love to score a deuce in the first, and that's exactly what they did. Conservative play as expected, bringing it into the rings. I'm sure we're going to see Japan go to the offense, and yes, they do. Here's Yurika Yoshida. We're talking about the importance of qualifying for the Women's World Championships. As we said, this Japanese team were the silver medalists at last year's Women's Worlds. And the reason it's so important in the lead up to the Pyeongchang Olympics is countries earn qualification points. And the higher you finish in the standings at World Championships, the more points you get. That one slides just onto the ring, so mistake there from Yoshida. The host nation will qualify for the Winter Olympics. That, of course, is Korea. And then 7 countries will earn places at the Winter Olympics based on their World Championship performance. Japan has got, I believe, 12 points in the bank because of their silver at Women's Worlds last year. And there's a miss. Wow, well, we had a miss from the Japanese in the first end, and now a miss from Yang Ying in the second end. Very uncharacteristic.
Yeah, Japan's 12 points should be enough. Last time around for Sochi, South Korea grabbed the last spot with 9 points to get in. But I'm sure they want to get to the Worlds, though, and compete for the gold, having secured the silver last year, and also pick up a few more Olympic points just to be sure.
And of course, Wang Bingyu, presuming that they'll be the representative at World Championships for China, as we believe they will be. China's got some work to do to get into the Olympic field, so they'll be looking to place as high as they can at Worlds. In addition to the 7 countries that qualify on points, the other World Championship participants plus Pacific Asia bronze medalists that don't make it on points have an opportunity to qualify through the Olympic qualifying event. 2 nations will qualify that way.
I believe China's already ready for the qualification event, but it's a pretty tough event.
Sure is.
You really don't want to play it. You'd rather be ready for the Olympics.
Totally. It's great to have a last chance to qualify, but you sleep much better at night if you're knowing that you're already there. Qualifying event will be held in, I believe, December 2017. So that's just a few months before the games itself. Here's Yumi Suzuki. Sweeping it for the curl now, trying to get in front of their stone in the front of the 12-foot. Not quite covering it, so Wang Bingyu will be able to make a play at it on the intern side. But it is a corner guard that they'll be able to use. Lu Jin Lee. Well by the guard. Gets a piece, almost drives it on her own. And safely navigates past it. So here we go. Fujisawa says, let's go around the corner guard. I love Yumi Suzuki's delivery. She's got a really quiet, efficient delivery. No wasted motion. Rock solid. Well by. Now it's a question about the weight. Trying to sweep it to curl. They'd like to hide a corner behind that red long guard if they can. Gets a piece of the forefoot, good weight. But probably didn't curl as much as they thought it might. There we see. Maybe a third hidden behind that guard.
Yeah, I think Yanzhou will be coming after it with about hacker board weight. Try and sit two.
Well, really working this one. Seemed a fraction tight. Is she by the guard? I don't think so. She's all over it. Trying to sweep it onto the rings and get a little bit of a spin, but no. Stays off the rings. So a chance here for Japan to recover from the deuce that they dropped in the first. Can they capitalize? Looking to hit the stone and roll it to the left as we're looking at it from our overhead. So Tsunami Yoshida. She flashed a hit in the first end, so let's see how she goes on this one. Waiting for this one to curl too. Hits half, and rolls away, so not the best of starts for Yoshida. She's really the engine room that makes this team go. I think they feed off her energy, so she'll be looking to turn that around and spark her team.
Yeah, that was on the in-turn. The flash in the first time was in the out-turn.
Yeah.
So I don't know if just overthrowing them or maybe just getting too much ice or just kind of throwing them way too positive.
Yeah, it's the evening draw here in Uiseong, and it's gotten quite a bit colder than it has been through the day, so perhaps a little bit less curl on the ice, but regardless, the players just haven't quite found the line for hits yet. They will. They're very experienced teams, and they'll adjust.
That looked like a pretty nice and clean throw.
Sure did.
Starting to catch some curl here.
Trying to get the roll behind that corner. Taking it right to the wing. Oh, good shot there from Yoshida. Very, very close to rolling it all the way behind that very wide corner guard. That'll boost her confidence. That was a nice stone. The only loss this week suffered by Wang Binyu's Chinese team. If you were with us earlier in the week, in an extra end, they actually ran out of time on their time clock and lost the game in the most bizarre fashion imaginable. That's their only loss of the week so far. Do they stick around? Oh, they do. Wow, what a fantastic result for Betty Wang.
Well, it does force Japan to play the draw, though.
Great brushing by the Chinese to hold the line, and that stone just clings to a piece of that blue 12-foot circle. So now if you're the Japanese, your mind shift has to shift a little bit from playing for the force to, okay, well, now I guess we got to go for the deuce.
Yeah, she makes a good draw here. She has backing on that yellow, but she's going to need this to be fully buried. And it's a very short run back for China. So you might want to put it on the tee line and rather invite the freeze than the very short run back. This one looking a bit heavy at the moment, though.
Does look a bit warm. So it's going to be past the tee line. Will it stop short to be shot? Comes to rest. Bite of the 8-foot, so the weight wasn't bad, but It's not quite the line they needed. Fraction heavy. Fujisawa knows that she would have liked that to be about 4 feet lighter than it was. Does help her dial in her draw weight, though, for later in the game. So Wang Binyu looking to remove this Japanese stone and maybe roll it away a bit to the center to lie to and really force the force. Calling her team off. Don't want to roll out, but they do. That one stone, though, is still protected, and it'd be pretty brave of Satsuki Fujisawa to come out on the wide side to try and pick it off. So she does draw.
It is possible to pick the yellow one, but if you're ever really unlucky, you might just tick in the top yellow one and steal it too.
Be the worst steal of 2 ever, isn't it?
I've seen that before.
I was going to say, I've seen that happen more than once.
I remember saw the Europeans in 2013. France was peeling it out for the game. They were 3 up. Ticked it in, draw for 4 in the game for the Czech Republic.
Oh dear. So it can happen. So Satsuki Fujisawa wants nothing of that, thank you very much. She says, I'll just draw the house, take my point, and reset. Good looking stone here. She threw a draw on her first one, and this one is letter perfect, right to the button. So it's a 1-point score for the Japanese, but a moral victory for China. They get the force. They scored 2 in the first. Japan scores 1 in the second. So after 2 ends of play, our score is, there we are, confirmation, China 2, Japan 1. Yurika Yoshida gets us underway here in the third. Looks to me like the Japanese are electing a center guard this time. Well, maybe not. They're trying to sweep it to the rings, but no. Center guard, happy enough with that. So Japan's changing it up a bit here. So Sender Rovag predicted fireworks, so I think we're going to have some in this end.
Well, do you know the Chinese invented the gunpowder, Hans?
Chinese are experts at fireworks, there's no doubt about that. Yang Ying looking to light the fuse. Is Norway a big fireworks country?
We're too much into safety and stuff.
So you get the really tame, not so cool fireworks that
Well,
just
it's less and less.
surrounded by foam rubber and
People get tired of fireworks anyway, don't they? It's the same every year.
boy, oh boy, you can't beat earth-shattering kaboom, really, can you?
You know, the city takes care of it and has one big one.
Fair enough.
Maybe if everyone just chipped in whatever they would use on fireworks and then the
Have one really awesome
one
show.
really big one supervised
Yeah.
might be better.
Okay, well, now that we've solved pyrotechnics, let's get back to the ice. Trying to freeze this stone, just comes across at great weight, but line just a little off. Good shot there from Yoshida, but good weight. She says, yeah, it really took off. So it's open for the Chinese. Yang flashed a hit in the last end, so let's see if she can correct. This one's looking pretty good. Spills it out to the side on the 8-foot. China's lying 2. And so far, if you're China, this is kind of textbook. You get the hammer in the first, you score 2, you force 1. Now you're building up another 2. And that is front of the playbook stuff for how you win a curling game. Yumi Suzuki's got other ideas. Looking for an inside roll. Pretty much putting it back right where their stone was before. So China rolls to the wing, Japan rolls back. I guess that stone's virtually exactly where it was. For Lu Jinli, Chinese second. So the Chinese again just roll it out to the side of the 8-foot. Good execution from both teams here. It's gone a little closer to the tee line, so if the Japanese do get an inside roll behind the guard, they will almost certainly be behind the tee line. Suzuki, they're waiting for it to curl. Here it comes. Have they left it too late? Here comes the roll. Goes to the back of the 4-foot, and how about that? What a great shot from Yumi Suzuki.
That is money.
It totally is. What a great roll. They waited for it, they waited for it, they waited for it, and then at the end, just got it right, and Wang Binyu sweeps it, but to no avail. It's welded behind that guard. That's a great shot.
Hit and rolls are pretty key to a curling game.
Sure
very,
are.
very often the team that can execute the hit and rolls will win.
Well, that one sure looks like a winner. There we see it really well defended by that guard. So what can Lu Jinli do with this? Have to get by that front one first. They're by that one, but I don't think they're going to get past the second one. And might run it straight back. I don't think go across the face of it. So looking at it in the overhead, it looks to me like the Japanese are lying 1. Quite close, but I'd say definitely lying 1. But more importantly, a great pocket for the Japanese to hit and roll into. So let's see if Chinami Yoshida can duplicate the feat of her teammate. Looking again for the hit and roll. This one's taking its time curling, so it doesn't look like they're going to get the kind of inside roll they're really looking for. They get a little one.
Yeah, that's kind of right in between shots. So
Yeah.
they might have set up a double and roll to the wing for China.
Yeah, it's
Actually kind of made things worse. A nose hit could have been better.
yeah, improving the angle for the Chinese in the process. It's one of those in-betweeners where you're almost willing it to curl so it gets the roll, as opposed to sweeping it to get the nose hit. So a good chance here for Zhao Yan to clean house. Trying for the double. She's got one, but she jams. Removes the Japanese stone, but leaves one in the back 8 foot. They are shot. I think there we get a great look at it from the hack end. The Chinese stone is pretty much wide open from the intern side, so Satsuki Fujisawa will be asking Chinami Yoshida to take this stone out and hopefully flop behind the guard. Doesn't want to be wide. There's a risk of a jam. Noses it, and Japan lies 2. Zhao Yan, her try at the either the double or the hit in the inside roll. Looks like they're trying for that inside roll, but it's right on the nose. So whichever team can execute this hit and roll first, Sander, I think, is going to be smiling.
Well, that's very often the case in ends like this when there's not too many stones in play.
Saw the great hit and roll from Yumi Suzuki earlier in the end. Turned the end around. It was looking like a deuce for China. Oh, Satsuki Fujisawa balks on that one. Felt something under the stone, so she does the right thing. Just stops and resets. Again, waiting for this one to curl. And once again on the nose, so third time in a row that stone is creeping further forward in the house. And now if China gets the hit in the inside roll, probably not going to be shot. There we get a look at it on an overhead. That stone has made its way all the way up almost to the front of the 8 foot circle, so if China hits and rolls behind the center guard, that stone just behind the 4 foot will count it out. And if she plays high side for the double, she's probably going to lose her shooter. So let's see what Wang Binyu chooses to play. Well, surprise, surprise, another nose hit.
Sounded like she was going for the double there. Just a little safe, perhaps. And with another nose hit from Fujisawa, it will be a force. Might try and roll it.
Yeah, if you could ever roll just past the center guard and partially hide your own shot rock, then you make the job of scoring one a bit more difficult for China. But the first priority is to get the Chinese stone out safely and don't jam on your own.
Yeah, I think even if you roll fully in the open, you might leave a double for the single rather than the draw.
Lots of woes, so wanting this one to curl. Just nestling it by their own in the back, so big separation there, so almost certainly it's going to create the force. Smiles from Fujisawa. Said, yeah, had it all the way. Knew it was going to curl. Fernan saying, yep, I thought so. So there we see on the outturn side, Wang Binyu has to draw this one into the forefoot. She's got that red Japanese stone in the back of the four to use as backing. Sometimes psychologically having some backing can be a bad thing.
Yeah, because you feel like, well, at least I shouldn't underthrow it, you know. You need to get there, and sometimes you add a little too much weight and you just slip off the backing. I've seen that many times before.
Well, this doesn't look heavy.
Well, it looks pretty good.
Need a piece of the forefoot to score. And they drill it right on the tee line. So nice weight there from Wang Binyu. Good job for the Japanese, though. After being forced in the second, they force back here in the third. China takes one. Japan will have last rock on end on the number 4, but after 3 ends of play, it's China 3, Japan 1.
小一点儿，姐姐。这个稍微小一点儿。
举示力量。下线操。OK， 我2个foul。
So let's see what Japan can do with the hammer here in the fourth. China throws it into the rings.
OK， 好球。
China took advantage of the hammer in the first to score a pair. Teams have done well to force each other to one in the following 2 ends, so Japan now with a chance to do something with the last rock. In the second end, Yoshida threw her first guard attempt into the rings, so see if she can have this one stop. This one looks pretty heavy as well. And they're willing it to stop. It wants to stay in that free guard zone, and it just does. If you're new to curling, the first 4 stones of the end, if they come to rest between the hog line and the house, it's called the free guard zone, and your opponent is not allowed to remove it from play. Yang Ying.
点线 OK。
到不了3区啊，
几圈 ？OK， 5、2区，2、3，嗨，5、OK，nice shot。
So center guard there. So partly covering the shot rock. So after a slow burn of 4 ends, perhaps we're going to light the fuse on the fireworks this end.
Yeah, this is more of a traditional start to a curling end. Corner guard up, center guard, throwing the freeze.
Wide track and no shortage of weight. Is this even going to curl to get contact? Has she got a piece? Tiny piece, but she rolls out of the rings herself. Really heavy there.
Yeah, Yurika Yoshida has been struggling.
Yeah, well, that one might have spun back onto the rings, but definitely not what they were looking for.
It just hasn't quite been able to set up her team for the good ends. Japan's kind of been on the back foot from the get-go of each end so far. Especially in today's game, lead rocks are so important.
Spoken as somebody who really appreciates the value of the lead position, Sandra Rovag, and I couldn't agree more.
Well, I've played lead on many occasions myself, and it's just when you play lead, it's just so clear that you put your team in so much trouble if you don't make your shots.
And you have the whole end to think about it.
Yep. Oh, you can just see, you know, how the end develops after missing your shots. You see, well, this is all because of the start we had.
Yes.
这么大件儿，
And we can see the evidence of that. Trouble building here for the Japanese. 2 Chinese stones behind that guard. Hack weight looked for here from Suzuki.
It'd be nice not to jam on the back red if it's in the house.
Just playing hack weight. Over curling. Nudges the front as she gets some action. Pushes the red stone into the ring. So it's a bit of a bonus there. If you're going to get a miss, that quiet weight allowed that stone to be available, but Wang Binyu's taking a look at it.
Yeah, it's actually not terrible.
Just electing to hit this stone.
I think they're throwing a guard.
This is still a guard. Okay, I was just baffled a bit by the broom placement there. She ran out right beside that rock right away, but you're right, Sander. It's the guard.
You gotta be careful though. Don't place the, put the guard in the right spot here. Japan will be able to play a hit and roll off the top 12 and have 3 rocks in the house. Starting to look a little scary for China. That doesn't curl quite enough. I wouldn't be surprised if Japan just plays a hit and roll off the one top 12, but they might look to run it back as well.
So there we see Satsuki Fujisawa is going to go and have a look at the angles. She is looking at the double run back, so she could hit the front stone and maybe move 2 or 3 Chinese stones.
I'd be tempted to play the hit and roll off the one top 12.
I was thinking the same thing looking at this angle, Sander. It's very tempting to hit and roll to the wing.
Yeah, just to see what China does, if they dare try and draw around the guard again, or if they start hitting.
But here's the pocket rocket. Yumi Suzuki, 1, 2,
Wow.
3, boom! Great shot from Suzuki.
Yeah, just unlucky not to get the last yellow flying, but that's a great shot.
There we see, hits the front stone across the second stone, catches the shot rock, little thinner, and it would have been triple takeout. So instead, it's only a double takeout. Great shot from Suzuki. Hard luck for the Japanese, leaving their stone behind the corner guard, however. There is a run back there for them, however.
Well, certainly open things up for Japan.
Yeah.
It's gonna make probably gonna make sure they get their single.
Yes, the teams have traded forces in the last couple of ends, and another force of 1 brewing here, although that one does slide into the back of the 8-foot, so tempting now to play that run back, and maybe you could get some action even. And
Yeah, definitely want to try and bring the red stones in the 12-foot into play, but you might just give up on them as well and just play the draw.
well, Tsunami Yoshida's game, she says, I'm happy to run that thing back.
And that is the call.
Need this one to curl to the nose to make the run back. They want to get some contact. A little bit of action off their own, so that's a great plan B result. Got a little bit fortunate there, and a big smile there from Yoshida. She knows that wasn't the first plan, but that worked out pretty well for them. See the red onto their own stone, and watch the action. Rolls it in front of the Chinese stone and on a great angle as well. It's a bit of good fortune there for Team Japan. Wang Binyu can pick this out. Zhao Yan looking to hit about half the rock. Jams it.
I was a little surprised where they put the broom on that. It was more or less zero ice to get half a rock.
Yeah, would have needed to throw peel weight at that to make that shot.
接下来了哈。
I don't know if they had anything else in mind, but definitely just peeling it, as you said, Hans, would have been a viable option.
Well, maybe Sander, they were a bit nervous. They had some misses early in the game, and maybe they thought the ice was straighter than it actually is. And now that the ice is settling in, maybe a bit more curl. But a good chance now for Japan. Big screams usually mean over curling. Can the sweepers hold it? They want to keep this stone in the rings. It does stay in the rings, but the back 12 foot, so it's third shot. Sad face there from Chinami Yoshida. She wanted to have second shot. Suzuki and Yoshida trying to hold the line, but it over curls, and puzzled expression there from Chinami. So this end could go either way at this point. The 2 or 3 is still on for Japan, but likewise a good little hit and roll here from Wang Binyu, and Japan will be doing all it can just to score. Working this one hard as well. Have they saved it? Looking for the roll, and it just over curled. Didn't over curl, over rolled. Wang Binyu going, man, could have stuck that one. Probably half hidden, but just enough showing on the outturn side for Fujisawa. Thin double takeout, possibly.
I'll just play the hit and roll in front.
Safer play for sure. Probably can't see too much of that stone. They can probably see a quarter to a third, so can't throw big weight at this.
Looks like they called a double here. Definitely playing with ambition.
I love this team. They're fearless. They'll just go for stuff, and they'll just no fear.
Yeah, definitely confidence. Like in the first end where they had to play the freeze, they didn't even think about it.
They just went for it.
Fujisawa just, you got a freeze, put the freeze,
Yep,
put the
throw
broom
it.
down, went to throw it, didn't even think about it.
Yeah. That's good. That shows good team cohesion. They're in sync with each other, and they're supportive of each other. There we get a great shot from the hack, and she can see about half the rock. Probably has to hit about a quarter to make the double.
You basically need to hit the broom where it's at. So big weight, positive throw, should run pretty straight.
This one has to curl. She needs a piece. Willing it to curl. It's close. Oh, makes the double, but loses the shooter. Great try there, though.
Well, if the backwards in the house, still
Yeah,
pretty
that's
good.
a good question. You know, if you had to look at it to measure for the end, here we see on the replay we catch 1-2 stones. They were hoping to save the shooter, but it goes out 2. But Sanders says the question is that stone in the back 12 foot. Hard to tell if it's in the rings or not. That stone in the 12 foot is absolutely in the rings. And as we pull back, there we see that other Japanese stone. We see the gap of white between the stone and the blue circle from this angle, but you'd want to look at it at ice level. And if the fate of your game depended on it, you'd certainly ask an official to measure that one.
Of course, the measure can only be done after the end
There's
is
a great
played.
look at it. From that angle, it looks like it's on. Thank you, team. Great job. So Wang Binyu removes it and, importantly, rolls out of the ring. So now the Japanese will take a very close look at that back stone to decide if we got a deuce going on here. They can
Or-
split this one.
Yeah, that's, I don't know if Wang Binyu was thinking about that actually.
スイープでねボトムでね多分結構センター乗ってたじゃん今
It's definitely worth a go.
それ狭すぎない狭すぎ結構乗ってたかなと思ったんだけど
So are we going to, in fact, yes, it looks like they're trying the split, so it's no risk. If you make the split, you get 2, and you measure the back one, and you maybe get 3. That would be a huge bonus.
What's the most important thing to remember when you play the split, Hans?
What's the most important thing to remember?
Yeah,
You're the expert commentator. What is the most important thing to remember?
just never play enough weight. I'll never play too much
Too
weight.
much weight,
Yeah, so if
exactly.
you don't hit it, your stone shouldn't go through. So you
Yes.
play maximum back 12 foot.
Yes. Throw it like a heavy draw.
And then the sweepers do the rest.
So here we go. An opportunity for Japan, trying the split. Trying to score 2, maybe 3, but this one's got some curling to do.
Yeah, it's wide. And the question is how...
Could this be a very unlikely force? No split for sure. It's past the stone. It's going to come to rest, so it's definitely for 1. So now if you're Japan, you definitely ask for a measure on that back stone and maybe get the cheap deuce. So they are going to measure. Wry smile from Fujisawa. She said, sorry, girls, I never really gave us a chance on the split.
Threw the perfect weight, though.
Yeah, the weight was great. Now the question is, they might get a deuce anyways.
Well, could have been 3.
Could have been 3. I mean, if this winds up being on the rings, they're going to be really disappointed that they didn't split that front stone, because that would have given them ascendancy in this game.
I think they'll be happy if it's on either way, though. The
Well,
deuce is better than the
That's
single.
kind of like the surprise birthday present, isn't it, from the long-lost relative? If this one's on the rings, it's kind of like a found point. So we have the 6-foot measure, and the official now will bring this over to the rock, and if it makes any contact, it's a point.
That's on.
That is definitely on, so it's a 2-point score for the Japanese. So that stone spinning onto the back of the 12-foot. Surprise, surprise. Merry Christmas for Japan. After 4 ends of play, it's 3-3.
いや悪くなかったラインやなと思ったんだけどでもね
So after that surprise deuce, Fujisawa missed the attempted split into the house for 1, but they measured that stone that was biting the back 12-foot, and it was confirmed that it was in fact biting the back 12-foot. So it's 2 on the board for Japan. We're all tied up. Well, we've seen a few unusual things here this week, Sander. That's another one. Yang Ying.
可以下线操。
加油姐姐
全力腰，hard。
Looking to bring this into the rings.
照下来一点腰，hard。
Play here in end number 5. 10 ends scheduled. Each team has 38 minutes of thinking time, and they can call 1 60-second timeout each.
バックじゃ重たいかな。ね。11。しないようにすると。
we're you know, the days are flying by, Hans.
They are.
We've seen a lot of games so far, and I know you're on top of these things. Who's through to the playoffs?
Oh, pop quiz. Okay, here we go. Well, there are 8 teams in the competition, and so far we've got, let's see, Japan's 5-0. They've qualified. China's 4-1. They've qualified. And the host nation, Korea, is 5-0, so they've qualified. So that just leaves one place on the dance floor for the rest of the field. And coming into tonight's draw, the next 2 ranked teams were Australia and New Zealand. They're carrying 2 and 3 records coming into this game, and they're going head-to-head tonight. So have we got a progress score in that game, Sander?
Yeah, it's all tied at 2 each after 4 ends of play.
Wow, so couldn't be tighter. So those teams are fighting it out. The winner won't be guaranteed that 4th playoff spot, but certainly would put them in the pole position for it. So a lot to play for in that game. We'll keep an eye on that one for you as well. The playoff format, of course, 4 teams make it in. Whichever team is ranked first will play a semifinal against the 4th ranked team. Second place team plays against the 3rd place team. The winners advance to the gold medal match. The losers play in the bronze medal match.
Yeah, we moved away from the page playoff system, and we're doing the straight Olympic.
This is the Olympic style qualification. The Pacific Asia region decided, and I think correctly personally, that if you're going to play a format that you're going to play at the Olympic Games, and the Olympics is the pinnacle of your sport, then you might as well play that format in your qualifiers as well.
Yeah, we've started doing that at the European Championships as well. Well, unfortunately, last year when I was with the Norwegian squad, we won all the round robin games and lost to Sweden in the semi, but you know, that's hindsight.
Well, it can happen, and there are folks that passionately argue in favor of the page system and others that favor the straight elimination system. I guess the bottom line is if you're going to win the tournament, you're going to have to beat everybody.
Well, puts a lot more on the line for those semi-final games, though. More excitement, I think.
So, absolutely. And if you look at other team sports that have group phases and then quarterfinals, semifinals, it's almost invariably straight knockout. If you think about basketball or football or other team sports. So that's certainly the way it's being played here as well at the Pacific Asia Championship. Straight knockout once it gets to the semifinal. Very exciting. And we'll have those games for you live, of course. So please join us for those later in the week. So these 2 teams know that they're going to be part of that playoff party. Can the Kiwis join them, or will the Aussies bounce their way in? Kangaroo-like. So after dropping that deuce, China's got the hammer here, trying to get something going in the 5th. Can they navigate that guard? Oh, they redirect, they feather off. Just gentle nudges left, right, and center. And is that one hanging around? We had a biter there in the last end. We're going to have a biter here again. There we see it just clinging on to the edge of the 12-foot tenaciously.
Well, that's pretty interesting. Ended up nudging the top yellow in and sticking around. 2 yells in the house all of a sudden.
Is that how you play a split?
You know, if you call that shot, it'd be pretty sick to make. You see Fujisawa a little bit disheartened.
Yeah, you think your opponent's crashing the guard, then all of a sudden, uh-oh. Stones accumulating, warning, warning, danger, danger. Or as they say in Japanese, abunai.
And that means?
Danger. Dangerous.
Well, they made the right call here. Taking the yellow off the winger. Trying to roll towards the center. Try and group the stones. You don't want to leave too many of your opponent's stones just on the fringe of the 12-foot. It's a really nice shot.
Yeah, nice stone there from Yoshida. She's clicking it into gear now. So let's see what Zhao Yan does in response. Clip the guard the first time, buy it this time. Spills to the outside of the rings though, and this one does go out of the rings. Boy, flirting with those guards. Clipped it the first time and just snuck by this time. Look at the replay, how close that was to the front guard, but pops the Japanese stone out. Between hack and board weight. Chinami Yoshida saying, can I have the outturn, please? This is like the best cartoon show ever. Really? You know, it just sounds so great. The way the teams communicate, they're just so full of life and they're clear in their communications with each other. Positive. Trying to save the shooter here though, it's really over curling. They can't jam. They want to get that on the rings, no jam risk, but leave their stone short. So a chance here for Wang Binyu to hit and roll or possibly try a come around. So they changed their minds a little bit there. Fujisawa wanted to play the in turn. They wound up playing the out turn.
Yeah, I don't think China's too happy yet, though. They're having to come around the center guard. They're in the fifth end, and probably like a blank. That's not coming off for them.
No, it is feeling like a force, that's for sure.
I'm going to make sure to keep this one at least top 4, maybe even top 8. Come too deep here. Japan's just going to follow with a freeze, and then things are sort of locked in for it. Lots of room on the guard.
Yeah, well by that guard.
Plan B, I think, here. Trying to get down to the red stone.
But enough weight, there's reasonable separation between those stones.
It's actually not too bad.
It's a good angle because now there's no way to hit it on the inside to try and get the inside roll. There's going to jam. There's a great look at it.
And I don't think Japan's going to play the cool draw either. And again, if they play the hit and roll to the wing, you know, the draw's open for China again. So it kind of worked out okay.
So Yoshida with her brush saying that, yep, they are going to try and just roll it to the left. Far enough into the 12-foot so they don't set up an easy double. Here is Satsuki Fujisawa, silver medalist at the 2016 World Women's Championships, Japan's first ever podium. It does jam, but they sit in front of the Chinese stone, so same challenge now for Wang Binyu. Can remove that stone, but there's a big risk of jamming it on your own. Okay, so after a bit of discussion, looks to me like they're going to go freeze or corner freeze on that shot rock. It is behind the tee line. Maybe just a tiny bump. China with the hammer. Betty wants the ice tightened up just a fraction. Sweepers want to jump it. They think it's light, but they're worried about the line. Now the sweepers get licensed to sweep. just by the guard. So close to wrecking on that guard. Comes to rest right on the button. Wow. Sweepers wanted to jump that one right out of hand, and look how close they come to that guard, just squeaking by it. If they would have feathered that, then it would have been big, big trouble for China. But instead, they're lying one, but there, look from the hack view. It's come past that guard and actually popped out the other side, so can Satsuki Fujisawa thread the needle? Trying to navigate the port between these two guards and remove the Chinese rock. And if she does, might even get a little roll behind that right-hand guard. Big shot here. Trying to hold the line, desperately trying to hold the line. Can they get it by those guards? Just by one, now by two. Hit, roll right on top of her shot. Great stone there from Satsuki Fujisawa. And a great team shot as well. Brilliant sweeping there by Suzuki and Yoshida. Smiles all around. That was hard work, but well worth it. Look how close, by one guard, by two guards. Hit and the roll, weld. Can't ask for anything more than that, Sander.
Oh, and I can tell you, she's left a pretty tough shot for Wang Binyu here to score. Just the 1 foot open, but how do you get there?
Well, you have to navigate that port, but you can't throw any weight. You have to throw draw weight. Can't really draw there, and if you're going on the out turn, you have to get by those two red stones. Great result for Japan. Excellent, excellent shot. So she is going to try the draw on the in turn, but boy, she's going to have to get really close to that guard to somehow get to that button area and not over curl.
Not even quite sure what the call is here with that broom.
Yeah, is it the draw or has she got something else in mind? Well, we're going to know in a moment. Here it comes, folks. Last rock, end number 5.
Guess she's trying to draw around the guard.
Okay, looking for the big hook and the big late finish.
Oh, going through the port here.
It is through the attempt through the port.
Seems tough.
Well, they're definitely through the port, but is it going to over curl? Yes, it is, and it's a steal of 2 for Japan.
I gotta say that was a weird call. There was no chance of drawing through the port to get to the button. You had to throw that with at least backline weight and try and, you know, slip off the top there.
Wow, well, what a turnaround in this end. Two great shots from Satsuki Fujisawa. An attempted saver there from Wang Binyu, but it just over curls, and it's a big steal of 2 for the Japanese. So we're at the midpoint of the game. Time for the 5th end break. It's Japan 5, China 3. So let's have a look at the highlights from the first half of the game. Here, the first end, an attempted freeze there from Satsuki Fujisawa comes fractionally short. So an opportunity here for Wang Binyu to draw somewhere near the forfeit to cash in a second point and get off to a brilliant start. There's the throw, and it comes easing to the tee line. Absolutely perfect. So the Chinese are off to the races with a 2-point score in the first end. Then on the fourth end, Japan attempting a split, which they thought was for 2. Split is missed, so the stone comes to rest in the back of the forefoot. Looks like a score of 1, but the players measure the stone at the back of the house. It's confirmed that it's actually on the rings, and so it's a 2-point score for Japan. That ties the game at 3. Then in the fifth end, Japan with last rock, or China with last rock, but a great final stone from Japan's Satsuki Fujisawa. Hits, rolls, welds on her own stone, leaving an almost impossible draw for Wang Binyu of China. Trying to thread that needle herself and stick it on the pot, but it over curls, and it's a big steal of 2 for Japan. And so at the mid-end break of the game, Japan is on top 5-3. So we're back for the second half of this 10-end game. Japan scored 2 on the fourth and stole 2 on the fifth. So from a 3-1 trailing position, all of a sudden they've rocketed into a 5-3 lead. Hans Frauenlob here with Sander Rolvag. And Sander, it's been quite a turnaround in this game.
Yeah, I'd say so. China's looking like the strongest team in the first couple of ends. Japan was on the back foot to begin with, and you know, it seemed like they had things going, but just can't seem to make the key shots, and Japan certainly have, and you know, they have a 2-point lead. China's going to have to up their game here.
So let's see, they've got the hammer here in the sixth. Let's see what they can do with it. Here's Yang Ying. Wang Binyu has had a couple of years off the ice. We mentioned that she was the 2009 Women's World Champion. Hasn't played for a couple of years, raising her first child, but back on the competitive scene this year. This team has been overseas. Yang is new to this lineup, but they've had some success this year. They won a cash spiel in Saskatoon. So they're right back in the competitive zone. Eureka Yoshida. Just tight to the rings and maybe covering a piece of their own. So it does sit in the free guard zone and covers a tiny piece of that stone in the 4. So Yang is going to be asked to cozy another one in there. Quiet weight, making a play on this Japanese stone. Hits half, rolls to the wing. That's pretty good. Center of the ice pretty inviting now for the Japanese, but with a 2-point lead, they're not going to fool around. They'll make a play on that Chinese shot rock. Yumi Suzuki. Working it hard, trying to save the shooter. Oh my goodness, just got a piece and rolls it away. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. There we see the sweepers trying to hold the line. They were looking for an inside roll, but look at it, over curls. Just nudges that Chinese rock, and now Ben Yuang's in business. Surprised she's having a run at the center guard and not trying to use the guards herself.
Yeah, it's a bit of a cautious approach, especially in the sixth end. You know they want to score here, so could take a little more risk. Saying that, she's played a beautiful shot here. Lies too, and the corner guard's in play, so definitely looking good for China here in 6.
Good stone there from Lu Chinli. So, Yumi Suzuki looking to tidy up the mess that she created with her first one. Chance for a double takeout here. Yoshida and Yoshida, well-known law firm. Hits one and again. Bit inside perhaps, rolls it away, and so a free shot here for Team China to bomb one around that corner guard.
Yeah, the 3 might be in play for China here.
Yeah. Great chance for the Chinese to right the ship after giving up 4 straight points. Lu Xinli. They would love to keep this in front of the tee line, but this one looks hot. Well by the guard. Will it stay in the rings? Going quite deep. Fujisawa's trying to get it out. Comes to rest in the back 12 foot, so a bit of a let off there for Team Japan, but China does lie too. Wipes her brow. Whew, stayed in the rings. Not great, but better than being in the hack. But Japan can close up the play here if they can make the inside roll. So Chinami Yoshida being asked to do just that. Lots of yes, no. Can't be too far away. Oh boy, maybe misread the sweep there a little bit of sweeping, and that's a double takeout. But Fujisawa says, yep, sorry Chinami, my fault. Just kind of watched that one all the way down the ice, and in the end catch it a bit too thick, and it goes over the top of that second stone. So golden opportunity here for Team China. Zhao Yan.
Certainly can't afford to, draw this one deep. It's going to give Japan a great chance to just come after with a freeze and kill the end. And this is so deep, it might be available for Japan. Could probably come down here with hack weight and just tap the back yellow out and sit on top. It's a really wasted opportunity by China.
Yeah, 2 come around draws, both very deep in the rings. Important shot here for Yoshida. She must get to the nose of that back rock, and if she can, Japan might bail themselves out of trouble. Well past the guard, lots of weight. Removes 1 Chinese stone.
It doesn't quite sit on top of the yellow, but the most important thing and stays for shot stone. So if China wants to score with the back yellow, they're going to have to move that red. But for now, they're just going to draw around the corner.
Third time lucky, perhaps, for Team China on this one, Sander?
Well, you would think.
Had a few tries at it.
给线 OK， OK 啊！哦，几圈？5圈，下线擦。
6
看6 OK， 5 6，往下踩踩要 hard，
White's looking better on this one, but they are well by the guard.
hard
Sweeping it to try and hide something.
hard 全力要。
So comes to rest in the forefoot. Question will be, I think Japan will be able to see something of that rock, but can they see enough of it to try a double takeout? I don't think so. Looks like, yeah, half of it's hidden. There we get a great look at it from the far end. So about 2/3 of it available. She might just be able to get to it and make the double, but certainly doesn't want to flirt and crash that guard. That would be disastrous. Japanese skip Satsuki Fujisawa. Sweepers think the weight's up. No danger of the guard. Gets one. And hangs around for first shot. So good separation there and a tough angle for the Chinese now to try and double this off, Sander.
Yeah, I think that's a really good shot. They're probably just going to have to play a little hit and roll.
So it looks like Wang Binyu's thinking about the freeze. Big smiles there from Satsuki Fujisawa, and you can understand why. That was a great result.
Yeah, freeze makes sense too. You lock this one on. Fujisawa blasts it out. She'll roll out with the shooter and leave a hit in the back for 2.
2 points would draw China level. They trail at 5-3. Play in end number 6 of this 10-end contest. If we're tied after 10, we'll play an extra end. They don't want to bounce. They don't have contact either, though. And it comes into the back 8-foot. So Japan lies 1. China second shot. Japan third shot. And now they're discussing removing the Chinese stone and maybe even bouncing off their own to sit in front of that back Chinese stone. So line looked like it really fooled them, Sander. That was not even really close to the target rock.
Well, it's just a bit heavy too.
A few feet of weight can really make a difference on the line, can't it?
For sure. As you say, you would say in Canada.
For sure.
For sure. Well, gotta make sure you don't leave a double for 2 here, Fujisawa. The other option would to just split the house, draw to the other side of the 8-foot.
Well, they're asking for the rock to be clean, so they must be not far away from what they like. There's one. Nudges their own stone, sits it in front of the Chinese back rock, so that's a pretty good result.
Yep, that's good enough. A little thinner, though. She would have bounced that back red too far and rolled the shooter out.
Yeah, playing with a little bit of fire, probably just more like a cigarette lighter flame than a full bonfire there, but nonetheless, great result. And Japan's lying 2, and they've generated the force. They might even be lying 3. There we get the look at the overhead, and in fact, yes, the Japanese are lying third shot in the back of the 12, so Drawing against 3 here for Wang Binyu. Crucial that she makes this one. Needs the full 8-foot. Last stone on its way.
带着点儿，7区，擦腰，7区开力量，开力量，谢谢。谢谢。
Well, it's hitting the tee line. How far is it going to slide? Or is it going to be a steal? Oh, comes to rest just in time, and so it's 1 point for China. Veteran Wang Binyu coolly draws the back of the 4-foot, just hangs on for shot, and it's a score of 1 for China. But after 6 ends of play, it's Japan on top, 5-4.
加。 大河。
So now play in end number 7.
稍微有点大，不能碰。
And after a lot of back and forth in this game, Japan now with the hammer in end number 7, 1 up.
记下了吗？
So
姐
now,
姐
Sander, if you're Satsuki Fujisawa, what are your thoughts about playing this end as you're setting up the end game?
Well, let's all talk about playing the scoreboard and playing the even ends. Let's just assume the teams would score with the last on advantage and the remaining 4 ends. That means they all get to score 2 times each. If Japan, however, somehow ends up blanking this 7th end, we still only have 3 ends left. And then Japan can score with last stone in the 8th end, let China score in the 9, and then have hammer again in 10. So effectively having 2 last stone advantages to China's 1. So that's where they're drawing the wing. It's a bit of a defensive shot. Tells me they're going to try and blank the end, and you'll see China not too eager to play this one too aggressively. You would see some teams throw the long center guard here to really force the issue and make sure Japan scores a single and get the hammer back for the even ends themselves, but they don't want to take that risk. And if they roll out here, well, they don't.
Just hangs on.
Yeah, still wouldn't be allowed to hit the center guard, but it's really important for China to keep their shooter in play, and then at some point they're going to have to try and make that hit and roll in behind the center guard to get the force from Japan. And of course Japan also needs to stick around here. If they don't, China gets to draw around the center guard. So it's going to be a bit of a cat and mouse game here all the way through the 7th end until we get a mistake. And there we have it.
Okay, there's the hit and the rollout. So opportunity now for the Chinese to use that center guard.
Yeah, so China's looking to force Japan to score their 1. They'll be 2 down. They'll have to score 2 back in the 8th. Force 1 for Japan in 9. Come home with the last stone and needing to score 2. That's probably the plan, but if they can steal here, of course,
New plan.
they'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
我感觉6手行。OK 哦，可以下线操。OK 下线操。
And if you're Satsuki Fujisawa and Team Japan, and you're knowing that a veteran like Wang Binyu is trying to do that to you, do you put the priority in just trying to be able to score, or do you just try to play the end normally as you would with the hammer?
Yeah, I don't think it seems like they have a game plan, and you're just going to try and follow it. Of course, it'll try for the blank, but if they realize it's not going to happen, they might change it up and go for the 2. The last thing they want to do is score the single.
Suzuki runs the front, blows it by the 1 on the 4-foot, and leaves her own stone just off the center line, and so in between her there. It's kind of a corner guard, kind of a center guard. It would certainly cut off the path on the out-turn side to the button.
Yeah, and leaves a guard too, which means it's already starting to just clutter up a little bit. Makes the blank a lot harder. And it's really playing into the hands of Wang Binyu. Just having some curling to do.
Go, go, go. Wanted the guard, but Wang mindful that she needs to cover the shot rock a bit as well. Looks like it's half covered, so maybe a chance here for the Japanese to change gears slightly and move away from running the front guards and make a play on the shot rock. So it's Yumi Suzuki on her in turn. Sweeper said the weight was a bit down, so they're worried about this over curling. They got to get it by that guard, just by the guard. Great sweeping there by the Japanese. Removes that rock and just rolls it out to the side of the button. Good weight communications there from Team Japan. The sweepers let Fujisawa know immediately that that one was a bit down. And they sweep it by the guard in the end, well by the guard, or at least a couple of centimeters by the guard. Good chance here now, though, for the Chinese to remove that stone and flop their own behind that pile. Xiaoyan. They would love a bit of an inside roll. And that's pretty good. Puts it right back where it was, so probably about a third of that rock available to the Japanese. Almost perfect. There you see another half a rock of roll there, and China's fully buried, but Japan can make a play on it. Shinami Yoshida. That one had a little bit more weight than Suzuki's, I think, and so it's tracking a bit straighter. Must get out of the rings. Fujisawa being urged on by her teammates to sweep it out, and she does. So here's a chance for Team China to use those guards, tuck one around. As Sanders said, about the least desirable result for the Japanese in this end would be to score one, and that's exactly what China's trying to get them to do. They like the looks of it, but they've got to get it by the guard first. Oh, great brushing by the Chinese front end. Yang and Liu close to coast. Tuck it around, and this one will be really difficult to remove. So now Fujisawa says, yep, I concede that was a great shot, so I have to run this front one back.
It almost looked like they were playing for the double peel. Not 100% sure though, Hans.
They might be. Double peel would be good. Double run back would be good. What have we got? Double run back. There they go. Great shot by Chinami Yoshida.
Yeah, maybe the double was the plan B she was calling.
Oh, nice indeed. There we see. Just catches it, but she had lots of weight, so she pushes that Chinese stone out of the rings. Japan not out of the woods yet, but at least the forefoot is open, so if China does go around and Fujisawa has to make a saver, she's got a bit more house to work with. And that red Japanese stone sander, it's right close to the rings, so if she comes around it, it's quite a short run back, isn't it?
Yeah, if Wang Binyu makes a good draw here, she'll have two options: run the red back. If the draw is a little deep, she might even, as you said, switch gears and come after with a draw herself, maybe try and score 2.
Yep. And if she slides really deep, we've got that split there again.
Super's not really on it so far.
Yeah, she'd like to keep this one in front of the tee line if she can, but she also wants to bury. Doesn't look like she's going to bury. Does stay in front of the tee line. Yeah, Fujisawa immediately says, okay, here's our chance. Hit and flop. So here's the gear shift we're talking about. Fujisawa says we've got guards in front, so might be hard to blank. Got a great chance here for a short hit and roll and maybe get a deuce.
I mean, they could play the hit and roll to the open wing, and you'd probably see China play the nose hit and you get the blank.
Yep.
But, and if you ever roll out, you leave the same draw again for China. And it's also a great opportunity to score 2. I think you'd rather take the 2 here than the blank.
Don't think Satsuki was really happy with that slide, but now they're on it. Yes, no. Not sure which way they want to take it. Is it the inside or the outside? Right in between, stays on the nose, so sort of undecided there whether they were going to go for the inside or the outside roll. Just saw Satsuki out of the hack. A little bit of concern on her face, so I don't think it was the best of slides, but the net result, Japan lies 1. So good chance here for China. Only have to roll that one about 2 rock widths to be buried behind that guard. Can Wang Binyu do it? Keeping the sweepers off it. They're concerned about the line. They think it's wide. Lu Jilang trying to sweep it to curl. Does a great job of that. Wow, that worked out fantastic. Great directional sweeping there from Lu Jinli. Curls just enough and gets a great inside roll. So after all of this, looks like the force there. We see Lu sweeping it and getting the great inside roll. Oh, that's a great result for the Chinese. They might get their force after all.
Definitely discussing the run back here.
Well, you could run back, and if you made it, picked it off, you'd blank.
Yeah, I think that would be the best option.
But if you ran it straight back and you stuffed it, you'd be forced. It's all the same. So in the end, it looks like they are looking at the draw.
I'd say it's the easier shot for sure.
For sure. For curling fans in Australia and New Zealand, we're keeping an eye on that other game with playoff implications. Australia is leading that 4-3 in the latter part of the game. That's a close game too. Last stone coming here though in end number 7. Satsuki Fujisawa has to draw a piece of the forefoot to save 1. Weight looks pretty good. Suzuki Yoshida working it. Fujisawa joins them. She's worried. Are they light? Oh, no panic necessary. There it is. There's the tee line. Nice shot, Team Japan. They score 1, but mission accomplished for the Chinese. They get the force. Nice, high fives indeed. 1 on the board for the Japanese here in end number 7, and that puts them out to a 6-4 lead, 3 to play.
よかった。
So, Sander, we're coming into the business end of this game now, and it's so far it's plotting out exactly as you predicted for Wang Binyu. She got her force in the 7th, and so her plan here on end number 8.
Yep, score 2, but you know, still work to do.
Japan throws there first into the rings, just past the tee line. So Wang Binyu immediately asking for the corner guard. Yang Ying looking to light the fireworks here in end number 8.
好有点大呀，没鼻景了。但我相信他能停。
Will it stop?
我跟你说呀，
Just.
我成了，
Yeah, she's never in doubt. I threw it there on purpose.
是不是没进去，姐姐？
So it's in the free guard zone, which means the Japanese can't remove it. So Yoshida should be asked to throw another one into the rings, I'm sure.
はいちょっと待ってるよちょっと曲がってないちょっと待ってるはいよ曲がってきたちょっと伸びてるわいや伸びてそう6フリーズになるかな6 14.3フリーズにはしないあナイスやってごめんなんぼだった
Yeah, nice stone there from Yoshida. Japan likes two. And as a great curling coach that our New Zealand men's team worked with for a time, Bill Shearhart used to say, it's really hard to ignore 2 stones in the forefoot.
I'd say it's really important to keep your shooter in play if you're trying to score 2.
Absolutely right. Don't want to overthrow this, but that might be exactly what's happened. Clips it thin, rolls it away. Cardinal sin, Sander.
Yeah, and if I was Fujisawa, I'd rip the corner guard, and the end is over for China. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So, you know, for that shot, so important in the 8th end, you know you need to score 2. I'd be tempted to keep the weight down. Just even just a backline weight, just tap those stones around. Make sure the shooter stays in play because you've just killed the end.
So, Yumi Suzuki looking to put the finishing touches on it. Wants to peel, doesn't want a nose hit.
Even gets the roll into the house here.
Oh. Nice indeed. Japan lies 2, but more importantly, no guards.
Binyu Wang has never lost to Fujisawa at the Pacific Asia Championships. You have played 6 times.
So a little extra motivation there for Team Japan.
Fujisawa did win the last time they met, though, in the World Championship back in 2013. So it could be back-to-back for her against Skip Wang.
China resetting their corner guard. They trail by 2. So they're going to pull out all the stops to try and generate a deuce here.
We're trying to get that a little bit deeper. Try to make it a little harder to peel. Use those red stones as catchers. And this should be pretty simple. But we've seen them miss a few of those simple takeouts in the game, so never say never.
Yumi Suzuki is generally pretty reliable, though, throwing the peels, and she makes that one perfectly. As you said, Sander, she did miss an open hit early in the game and feathered another one thin, which was uncharacteristic, but she looked really confident on that one. So once again, Lu Jinli being asked to set a guard. Wang Binyu being very patient. They've got the hammer here in the 8th, but they trail by 2.
So the plan for China was to score 2, force Japan in 9, score 2 back in 10 for the win. If this doesn't pan out, they might just have to blank this end and go for a score of 2 in the 9th and steal the game coming home.
Well, there's that deeper guard you were looking for, Sanders. So definitely riskier now for the Japanese to try and peel that. There are risks of jams either way. She wouldn't mind losing one of her 2 stones there if she rolled the other one in, but she certainly doesn't want to jam it and leave the Chinese stone in the house.
Yeah, it's a much tougher spot for Japan, that's for sure.
Big weight.
I don't want to jam it on the wing here.
Well, got away with one.
That's perfectly okay.
Rolls it off the rings. Main mission for Japan is to prevent China from scoring 2. They'd love the force, but if they can get the hammer back inexpensively, or at least force Wang Binyu to blank the end and carry it into the 9th, they take another end off the board. So just trying to keep it tidy. Three stones each to come for the teams here in end number 8.
And drops a center guard.
Wow, that's interesting. So now what do you do if you're Satsuki Fujisawa? You're guarded perfectly. Do you go for the kill right now? Or do you just say, okay, Binyu Wang's setting the trap. Look at her, she's tempted. She wants to do it.
You know, I'd say stick to the game plan and peel the guard.
Rip the guard.
Let them blank. You're 2 up. Force China in 9. Even if you give up 2 in the 9th, you'll be coming home with hammer. But
oh, well, the temptation looks like it's proving too great.
only thing with changing gears here is you have to make your shot, and you're going to have to be making more difficult shots.
So, has the wily veteran Wang Binyu sprung the trap on Satsuki Fujisawa, tempting her to play a come around of that center guard, and boy, if she doesn't make this great and China can somehow score 2 out of this, we'll wind up looking back at this shot and saying,
Uh-oh. Not liking the draw here.
it's wide and it is not light. It's going to be sailing through the house. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I wonder what J.D. Lin up on the bench thinks about that call.
Boy, I'm sure he wouldn't be saying that was choice A. So, temptation too great for Japan to draw another one in there and go for the kill. It goes horribly wrong, and now a great chance for Wang Binyu to come right down on top of that Japanese stone and maybe nudge it a few inches, create a little bit of space, and somehow generate a deuce here.
Not taking much ice here.
No. Maybe they thought that Yoshida's track so straight that they couldn't take too much ice, but they got to get by the guard. No, it is going to crash the guards. Trying to split them on now. Wow. What a couple of stones. My goodness, Yoshida throws one into the hack, and now Zhao Yan crashes on the front.
Didn't look like a whole lot of ice for that shot.
No, the ice was certainly much, much less than Yoshida took on her attempt. Weight was good. Weight looked like it was there. So it's a get out of jail time here for the Japanese. I think they really got away with one there. So now Satsuki Fujisawa just to eliminate this Chinese stone. Little inside roll. Pretty good. So now if Wang Binyu decides to play the stone and roll behind the guard, and you can see that's what she wants to play. Can't roll too far because it might not be shot. But she can just get a one rock roll to the left. She's still in business looking for a deuce here. And if she does, we'll look back at that decision to not rip the guard as the main reason why she does score the 2. So Wang Binyu set the trap. Satsuki Fujisawa fell into that trap, and now can she spring it shut? Oh, this one's really moving. Is she by? No, she's by the guard. Is it going to overcurl? Oh, a sweeping error from the Chinese. They had that one wired, but then they just backed off. It overcurled and popped out the other side. My goodness, that's a rookie mistake. They had this one wired, and then they just backed away, and then on the late curl, pops the Japanese stone just into the back of the 12-foot and rolls crucially into the open. So they had their chance, Sander, but boy, sweeping error there really cost them.
Yeah, and a chance for Japan to set 3 here. You want to keep the shooter around, put some pressure on Wang Binyu. Some additional pressure.
Yeah, lots of pressure now, and they can really ratchet it up here. Sweepers aren't anywhere near it, though, so hits and rolls away.
Yep, still going to be a force.
It's definitely going to be a force. Remember, China trails by 2, playing in the 8th. So Wang Binyu must hit and stay. See that Japanese stone at the bottom of our screen in the back of the 12-foot, so has to stay ahead of that to score. Quiet wait here. Final stone of end number 8. Sweepers aren't leaving it this time. There's the hit. Rolls to the wing, but lots of house to roll to this time, and it's a score of 1 for China. Binyu Wang keeps her team in the game. China hits, sticks, throws 1 on the board, but it's Japan leading at 6-5 after 8 ends of play. So now with Japan with the hammer on the 9th. They're in the driver's seat if they can execute. 1 up with the hammer. So if you're Wang Binyu, are you thinking force deuce, or are you thinking steal, steal?
I'd say force deuce.
Force deuce, go for the extra, take your chances.
Well, if you force deuce and then steal.
Right.
Or steal, steal. Maybe steal, steal.
Consecutive steals are tough. If you steal, steal, then you're done, right?
I think you're going to have to go for the steal and this end anyhow.
Yeah.
You got to put up another guard.
Attempted tick there blows by, so chance here for the Chinese to set a second guard. Remember, the Japanese can reposition the guard stones on the lead rocks, but they can't remove them from play. So Yang Ying.
This is one of the tougher shots for a lead to throw, as having thrown the tight guard, now just wanting this one to just barely creep over the hog line. You have to be tough mentally to just, you know,
Dial it back. It's like playing a short freeze, and this one is coming far deeper than they would like.
yeah, it's just you're so afraid of not having your guard past the hog line. It's very easy to overthrow it, and you don't throw the long guard so often either, so that that weight's not really dialed in for the week.
Right.
And it's a bit of a guess, but it's something that really great leads do all the time. And that is a mistake. Although the angle for the double isn't super easy for Japan.
No, they can remove both the Chinese stones, but if they do, they're going to leave a guard of their own there. Of course, we're still in the free guard zone part of the end, so she can't run the guards right now anyways. Fujisawa comes out to help. The last thing they want is another guard. So they do want this in the rings as a saver for later in the end. Keeping the play away from those guards. Nice shot there from Yoshida. Keeping the play away from those guards. The Japanese know that represents danger. Liu Jinli. First attempt at coming around. This one's really snapping. Getting later in the game now, so it's all over the guards. So a chance here now for the Japanese if they want to start blasting, or likewise, if they're feeling frisky, they could play an out-turn come around and try and play for a deuce and go for the win right here. Safer play, of course, is to eliminate guards. Only risk here, Sander, I think, is if she hits high side on that center stone, it might spring onto the rings.
Yeah, too thin, and that might happen. So make sure you hit a good chunk of it. Yeah, no problems there.
Yeah, nice stone there from Suzuki. Eliminates two of those Chinese guards. So the tidy up mission is underway.
And again, just playing a little bit cautious here. Wang Bingyu couldn't have thrown the guard, could have played a draw here, but playing the hit, just want to keep the game tight, it seems. And rolling out here.
That definitely opens the door for the Japanese now if they wanted to. They just ripped the front, and now you could play the end out and blank 9 and keep the hammer for 10-1 up.
Well, if the plan for China is steal, steal, if there's another blank here, it's pretty much all the same.
True.
You need to steal in 10 and then to get the extra. It's just kind of postponing at one end.
Postponing a bad date. So Suzuki, like clockwork, removing that front stone, so nothing in play. Around now. Nice shot there by Yoshida. So one more time for Zhao Yan. Bin Yu Wang now will just keep throwing up guards and do whatever she can to try to force some kind of a mistake or half a mistake from the Japanese that she can take advantage of. This one comes to rest just off the center line, but again, Fujisawa looks to eliminate it. Tsunami Yoshida. Sweepers are nowhere near it, but they don't need to be. Hits half a rock perfectly, spills it away. So this one is going to plan for Team Japan. They've got last rock here in the 9th end. They're 1 up. Nothing in play, no danger here. So you've got some pretty good looking options. You blank it. You go to 10. 1 up with hammer. And if you are trying to blank, but you hit and stick, you score a point, you're 2 up without. That's not the worst in the world. You'd rather not. You'd rather have the hammer, but before that happens, there's a few stones to come. Wang Benyu throws 1 more guard, trying to tempt Satsuki Fujisawa, but not this time. Fujisawa says, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me." She's not biting on the guard this time. Yoshida likes it. Why not? That's perfect.
And then it's not really much left for Wang Bingyu. Just put it in the house somewhere.
Throw it kind of in the middle of the house for maximum roll space and somewhere in the front 8 foot and make her hit it.
Yeah, there's 2 different.
Or you throw it way out of the wing there and hope for a clean miss.
Exactly, it's either or. Put it to the center where you kind of get to practice your draw weight to the button. And as you said, the longest roll to blank. Or you put it out in the wing where it might be just a little bit more tricky to play the peel. It's pretty much 50-50 call, I'd say.
First job is to get it on the rings, of course. This one's curling away from the wings, but she's just got a little bite, little nibble. That makes the task a little bit easier for Fujisawa. As long as she hits it at least on the nose, she'll blank the end. Of course, she'd prefer to hit it on the outside of the rock and not make it nervous at all for her teammates. So, blank attempt coming up here. Last rock on end number 9 for Satsuki Fujisawa of Japan. Trying to blank. And to hold last rock into the 10th end. Sweepers are on it. Now they're just going clean. They're happy. Perfectly executed end for the Japanese. It's a blank end. Nothing on the scoreboard there in end number 9, but crucially, Japan holding on to the hammer for the 10th and final end. So our score after 9 ends of play, it's Japan 6 and China 5.
记你啊，爷爷。一血可以。3血了。
So here we go, folks. 10th end to play. 10 end schedules in this contest. Of course, if it's tied after 10, we'll have an extra end, but it's advantage Team Japan, and here's the shot to watch for early in the end. I would say that Yuriko Yoshida is going to be asked to attempt a tick shot. Try to reposition this Chinese stone, but not knock it out of play.
Yeah, this shot is a little bit tougher than it was last year when you had the directional sweeping. So every team made them all the time. It's back to being a little bit difficult.
Shot.
Yep. This needs to just feather the yellow, and it does. Very nice shot.
So opening up the 4-foot, pushing the Chinese stone, kind of covering the 8-foot circle there. Very nice shot by Yoshida and well judged by Fujisawa. Good read on the line.
Yeah, first thing she gets it off the center line, but also when China throws another center guard, there'll be an angle and a chance for a double takeout for Japan.
So a great start to the end for the Japanese. Tough shot, that tick shot. So Yang Ying being asked to throw another guard. This will be China's last free guard, so crucial that they keep it out of the rings. Looks pretty good. Trying to change the stagger on those stones to reduce the risk of the double peel. Plus keep it tight enough to the rings that they might be able to use it to promote later in the end. So what's the play here, Sander? Are we looking at the tick on the center stone again?
Yes, we are.
This one tighter to the rings, so bigger chance of it being promoted onto the rings.
Playing the other turn too. A little surprised that it just played the same way. This one maybe over curling.
No, they're going to hammer this one, so I think this one's coming back.
Wow. Wow. That is...
What are the odds on that?
Well, so you're not allowed to remove your opponent's stone. What happened is they've jammed the yellow Chinese stone onto their own red stone at the back, and that's certainly allowed. And that is quite a cheeky way to play a soft peel, or tick shot rather.
Wow. The cross house 12-foot angle soft jam.
And if I'm China, I'm a little bit disgusted right now.
Yep.
And that's sort of been the story a little bit in this game. Japan's kind of gotten away with a few misses here and there. They've been, I'd say, on the right side of the inch more times than the Team China has.
Yeah, Fujisawa leaving a charmed existence.
Plan B has very much been in motion for Japan, while China's just haven't really gotten anything for free in this game.
Yeah.
So if you look at the percentages, not a big difference in shot making. The only thing that really stands out is the skips. Fujisawa, especially in the second half of the game, sort of outplaying Wang Bingyu.
So shooting accuracy, shooting percentages, a good way for us to understand the individual performances on the team. So now Yumi Suzuki, free guard zone time, it's over, and now it's blasting time.
Well, I can tell you, Hans, now I know why they played the tick that way.
Okay, yes. They obviously saw the long jam. Yeah, that was extraordinary.
It's a lesson for you kids out there.
Absolutely. Play that first tick, keep it in play at the back of the house, keep it in play so you can jam it on the second one.
Slash jam it.
Slash jam, tick, rub, bump. Absolutely astounding.
Well, China has a stone in the house. Not really in the forfeit, but it's something. And they're definitely going to make Fujisawa play a shot for the game here.
Japan leads by 1. 6-5. They want this stone to come to rest. They don't want it in the rings. And now Satsuki Fujisawa is lining it up for her peeling machine. Yumi Suzuki trying to read that angle and that contact point. Saying, kill that center guard Yumi, and if we hit it right, we can kill the shot rock as well. She's got one, but across the top of the shot. But first task done for Yumi Suzuki, removing the guard.
Well, I believe if Japan wins today, they'll be at 6 wins along with Korea, and they play tomorrow, and that would be the game for the top spot.
Showdown for first place.
Pretty much. But if China wins, I would put Japan at 1 loss, along with China, both at 5-1. And if Japan beats Korea tomorrow, that'd be putting them all at 5-1, and it'd be a little hard to predict who comes out on top. Might need a last stone draw.
Might come down to last stone draw for a tiebreaker. So,
or the shot challenge, rather.
Yes, teams are looking to avoid that. So, of course, we'll be bringing you that Japan versus Korea game tomorrow at 2 p.m. local time. So, you want to join us for that. We know it's going to have some kind of implication in the playoff standings. So here's a chance for Chinami Yoshida to try the double takeout. First job is to remove the guard, but she'd love to kill both. They're waiting for this to curl, though. Has she got contact at all? Catches it thin, removes the guard, so. Yeah, she says, I just floated a little bit.
I can tell you Australia's 1 up against New Zealand with the last stone in 10 also.
Okay, so Kiwis are going to have to do it tough to give themselves a chance. They're going to need to steal the 10th to force an extra.
And this is for the 4th playoff spot.
Yeah, wouldn't guarantee the
likely.
4th spot, but certainly make it the most likely. That's exactly right.
New Zealand and Australia both have a game tomorrow, but against what we expect is less tougher opponents.
So one more guard here from Team China. A little bit higher this time on the center line. Once again, Fujisawa looking at the angles. They've had 2 cracks now at the double clear. Not the double clear, but the double takeout. Clearing the guard and trying to pick off that one in the 8-foot circle. So now Yoshida. Fujisawa calls him on it right away. This one's tighter. Sweepers trying to hold the line. They don't want to leave a guard of their own. There's one. Jams it. So close.
It's a really good try, but you know it's better now. Move that yellow just a foot or 2 over.
Yeah, creates that much more real estate for Satsuki Fujisawa. Thought I saw Zhao Yan signaling timeout, so I'm not sure if they've stopped the clock here to consult with their coach or not. There we see that Chinese stone in the 8-foot. There is a corner guard up in the front of the house in front of it. So one school of thought might be throw another one around the corner guard. Japan runs the front, you guard it and say, okay, hit the house against 2 and you might lose. That's one way you could think about it. Other ways you could think about it is throw one more center guard and look for the, yes, they have in fact called timeout. So here's Coach Tan Weidong.
How's your Mandarin, Hans?
My Mandarin isn't awesome, but just interpreting the broom position, it looks like one more guard to me.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind throwing it around the corner. See if Japan would peel the guard. I'm not sure if they would, but if they did, you'd be able to lie 3 even. You could draw in the house, lie 3, and
you could do. You could say throw it on the 4-foot hit and stick for your game, and then you roll away and steal 2 that way.
Give her the option.
Yep.
She's going to throw the guard. We're probably going to see another slash attempt.
Yep, and if she picks that off, it's pretty much lights out, isn't it?
Well, she won't lose, at least, that's for sure.
二区1、2，开哟，
So it is the guard. So Fujisawa says, thank you. I will have one more crack at this double. Yoshida nearly made it. Suzuki nearly made it. Can Fujisawa make it? First job, of course, is to remove that guard. The last thing you want to do is overcurl and nose hit. There we see Tsunami Yoshida cleaning the path of where she hopes her skips rock is going to go. If she can make this double takeout here, Wang Binyu would have really no other option than to draw around the corner guard, and then Satsuki Fujisawa would have a draw to the 8-foot to win the game. She's got some contact. I don't think she's got the double. Close. Just had to curl a fraction more. So does Wang Binyu think about coming around the corner?
Yeah, I think she's just going to put this maybe top 8 to make the draw a little harder for Fujisawa. Come around the corner, you're not really closing down the scoring area for Japan, so I think they're going to try and put this in the way.
Okay, so
Just full 8-foot, probably just left of the center line would be perfect.
So high enough in the house so Fujisawa can't hit it for a point, but deep enough in the house to try and cut down the scoring area a little bit.
I think so. And line's important here. Try and force her to play that in turn where that corner guard is. I'm not sure if it's going to make a huge difference, but it will be there. It'll be visible. It might be a little distracting.
They must get it on the rings. They sure don't want to be short. Just get it on the rings, so.
She's done the minimum here.
Well, she has. Of course, if she was short of the rings, then Fujisawa would have really no pressure on her at all. She could miss the draw and the Japanese would at least get an extra end. But now if Japan misses the house entirely, China would win the game. So very, very important that the Chinese got that stone onto the 12-foot, and they did. So after 10 ends of pulsating curling, it's come down to this, sports fans. Last stone on its way for Japan. Satsuki Fujisawa needs the 8-foot to win the game.
Just played a upweight peel on her first one. Can she, collect her nerves here and throw the soft weight?
Oh, that one really jumped. Has it picked something up? I think that one grabbed Sander. And it's come short. Disaster for Japan and an unbelievable steal for China.
I'm sure that was a pickup, Hans. It really, really looked like it grabbed some debris. And that's a shame. We haven't seen a pickup all week.
Heartbreak for the Japanese on the final draw. We think that stone must have picked something up. It really jumped and moved. And let's have a look at it on the replay. Watch this stone just as the sweepers come off it. It makes a sudden little jump right about there. It goes sideways and all of a sudden takes all the momentum out of the rock, and disaster for the Japanese. Huge disappointment, but what a let-off for Team China. Good fortune for them. A steal for 2, and China takes it out 7-6. Highlights from Japan versus China here in the first end. Satsuki Fujisawa attempts a freeze, but comes up fractionally short, so Binyu Wang with the opportunity to draw for 2 points and put China in the lead. She needs a piece of the forefoot. Sweepers bring it in, lay it right on the tee line, so China with an outstanding start to this game. After one end of play, they led it 2-0. Then on the fourth end, Satsuki Fujisawa trying a split. It goes past the rock for the split, so it comes to rest for the one, but look at that stone at the bottom of the house. Is it biting? The officials come to measure it. Yes, it is. Official confirms it's on the ring, so Japan tied it up at 3. Then in the fifth, Satsuki Fujisawa threads the needle, hits, rolls, freezes, leaving a very difficult final stone for Wang Binyu. She tries to play follow the leader through that very tight port. But with the quiet weight, the stone over curls, comes up slightly short, and it's a big steal of 2 to Japan. So after 5, Japan led it 5-3. And then in the 10th and final end, attempted double clear by the Japanese, but it stuffs it and leaves it on the edge of the 8-foot for Chinami Yoshida. That might have gotten them out of the end. Japan has the hammer up 6-5, and now we see that stone coming into play because Satsuki Fujisawa has to draw now against 2 on her last stone of the game. Stone's underway, but watch as the sweepers come off the rock. It suddenly grabs and it moves right there. Picks up. Sweepers jump it, but they can't save it. Kills all the momentum, and it comes over on the guard. Comes short of the house. Heartbreak for the Japanese. A terrible break, but a huge win for the Chinese. A steal of 2. Satsuki Fujisawa heartbroken with that pick, but what a great win for Binyu Wang and Team China. They take it out 7-6.
Well, an intense game out there, and seemed like there was maybe a pickup on the last rock. How did you describe the moment?
Oh, this so lucky for us, and we try our best at the 10 end. So we got the 2 points, win the game. Yeah, it's lucky, but good things happen. Yeah.
How's your team been progressing this week? Are you playing better per game?
Yeah, well, I think we have a great start. Even we lose to Korea, but we still go in so quickly and feel so comfortable. And we play in another team, so we just build our the confidence. And this is a new team. We just want to try our best on the ice in the PACC. And today, I think we are a little so exciting. So we are a little aggressive on the 4th end and the 5th end, but we come back, and Japanese really have a good control of this game, and we are so lucky win that game. Yeah.
And with the win today, depending on results tomorrow, you might be able to get to the top spot and get into the 1-4 game. How much would that mean to you?
Oh, that's maybe, I think this easier for the semifinal, but I think it doesn't mean we just we still need to play very good, and our level in the semifinal and the final, it doesn't matter which team we played.
And do you have anything you can tell your fans back home in China about the game today and what you're expecting for the next couple of days? In Chinese?
Yes, okay. 今天这场比赛，我觉得大家确实很兴奋，然后也很希望能赢得这场比赛。但是对于一个新的队伍来讲，可能在中间几局的时候，我们还是打得太过于兴奋，所以可能有点失控。然后对于后面的比赛的话，还是很有信心。我觉得一直以来这个太平洋的比赛还是打得很不错的。
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So a very happy Bin Yu Wang. Every time we see her and her team on the ice this week, something amazing happens at the end of the game, and it's happened again today. Victory for Team China. We hope you've enjoyed the action here from the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. I'm Hans Fraunlaub on behalf of my colleague Sander Rolvag and our whole production team. Good night from Uiseong.